the wax for my conscience. Brown James in LA, you're on college. I've been jumping on them planes like a hobby. Still moving with the pack like my partners. Hit the John on them jets cause you wildin'. But the bowl is a party on the island. Moment of silence. So good, get back to the topic. Grew up, it was me and Flocka. Grandma's and Big T, this my mama. I ain't even for the pain when my pops flipped. Knew his name, that's it, never bothered. Mom said, you the man, son, you got this. Ever since I found a way to go and pop shit. Hold up, blaze through a whole zip. Took a seat at the table of my first flip. Days in red roof on my first whip. Split the money with the gang, never post pics. Seen a change in the game, had to coach it. Never let them take my wangs in the mold, bitch. Ever made in a month, nigga. Used to serve him at the minute just to front, nigga. Goddamn. Had to grow up quick, I made my own rules. Had my first child, got it jumping with music. Can't really hang with nobody who losing. I thought by now that you would go and get it, but I could hardly see niggas this distant. Know you get cropped if you not in the picture. And I made that zag and went got a bag. Shots to the Henny and OG prescriptions, put rebel shit on the map. Took a leap from where I started at. Started ballin' now, Chris Paul and Cats. Got them steady calling for the mold, but I'm on a roll, gotta call him back. And that's all fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. All carry-on items should now be stowed securely, either in an overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. All aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas should now be clear. All electronic devices should now be turned off and stowed, as they may interfere with the aircraft's navigational and communication systems. Once airborne, we'll let you know when you may use approved electronic devices, but note that some items may not be used at any time during the flight. You'll find a list of approved devices in the in-flight information section.
Hit my music. Elliot. It's about Elliot. It's about Elliot. It's about Elliot. Martin, it's about Elliot. It's about Elliot. It's about Elliot. Where you at? 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 It's about Elliot. 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 Woo! Welcome back, everybody. We are here to talk, of course, about the illustrious, sexy Nanocon 26. Boy, you got 106 of them things left. 106 of them days till they do this sexy time at Nanocon. Boy, if only y'all knew how sexy the sexy time at Nanocon was, you probably have a whole new outlook on this whole atheist community. Am I dropping too many breadcrumbs for you? Am I dropping too many breadcrumbs for you? Boy, if only y'all knew about all the sexy time at Nanocon. Nanocon's lineup this year features the illustrious speakers of Matt Dillahunty, Promise Backlund, Hemet Mehta, Monte Mater, Fish Stark, Forrest Valkai, Candace Gorham, Glenda Jordan, Kevin Crow, Christina Celeste, Gail Jordan, David Teachout, Sam McGuire, Will Judy, Jake Villa, and that human waste of a perfectly good ejaculate, one A.J. Ruley. The sponsors of this year's Nanocon include Polaris Financial Planning, American Humanist Association, The American Atheist, Godless Engineer, Black Non-Believers, Humanist of Tennessee, the Atheist Community of Austin, Secularizing U.S., I wonder who runs that, Recovering from Religion, Secular Student Alliance, The Clergy Project, Americans United for Separation of Church and State, Nashville, Think Squared Media, Stephen Barry, LMT, Massage Services, Think This Through YouTube channel. So that's the players. The question is, What is the motherfucking game? Y'all, Skeptic Haven is just actively covering up sex crimes. Like they're just actively covering up. They're literally just shutting down any and all conversation about the real shit happening in our community. Apparently nobody cares that Elliot Martin, one of their hosts and one of the people they left the platform and fangirl over and talk about all his great leadership and community building. And of course, you know, they can't help but basically play in our motherfucking faces about it. As you can see here by this fucked up ass stream, which is literally entitled Toxic Community Even After Dogma. Toxic Community Even After Toxic Motherfucking Community Even After Dogma. Talk about it. Drew Bakius and Chad Harris. Life After Faith. My, how the mighty have fallen. Drew Bakius, apparently the husband of the woman we've heard shit from. I'm sorry, D, Stacy, Drew, where the fuck y'all at? Where the fuck y'all at? I'm not Patty, motherfucker. Did you hear what the guy said? I am not Patty, motherfucker. You found this woman's sister after your homeboy threw her down the stairs and choked her. We finally go public about it back in December once we figure out what the fuck is going on from Patty. You drop a link on your goddamn Facebook page, has over 150 replies to it. The entire fucking community dogpiles this woman. All the flying monkeys are in there, throwing this woman under the bus. Your own goddamn mother-in-law gets on there and says, this is setting women back 50 years. And none of y'all said a goddamn thing about it publicly. I am not fucking Patty. I wish I found a motherfucker, found my sister after some shit like that. Watch these people fucking clown her and play in her goddamn face, and you still gonna get chummy and buddy. Wouldn't be on my Christmas card list, I can tell you that right now. Would not be on my Christmas card list at all. And here you are literally about to big up a super chat from Ambushed Apostate. The same Ambushed Apostate, Seth, that Nancy wrote about in her 10-page notarized statement addressed directly to the atheist YouTube community. And this motherfucker, Seth, threatened the shit out of Patty. Basically said, bitch, ain't nobody talking about your fucking dumbass sister no more. Get the fuck up out of here. You got to go all the way. It's time for you to leave the community. Told her to fucking see her way out the fucking door because she dared be fucking offended at her sister getting thrown down the stairs, choked, and nobody doing a goddamn thing about it. And you're like, hey, Steph, good to see you, buddy. How's it going? Show me, pal. You doing all right, man? How's the community building going? Boy, these white boys, y'all don't know how terrifying these motherfuckers are, man. You realize we done figured out the real shit. We done figured out that this whole atheist shit has been a fucking con and a scam. This ain't nothing but the last refuge of unsafe white boys who could never accomplish anything in motherfucking life, which is why they were fucking so drawn to the church to begin with. That's why that, ooh, am I getting too serious? That's why they were in that goddamn cult so goddamn long to begin with, because it was the only place they're unaccomplished, unsuccessful, undriven, uncompetent asses could fucking have some fucking standing. And then when they finally couldn't hand it, boy, that atheist grift started looking real good. They realized they could peddle that same exact song and dance with absolutely no substance whatsoever and be treated like the same elevated pastors and preachers they were without earning it. What does DEI stand for, y'all? Didn't earn it. Didn't earn it. Didn't earn it. And now what are they doing over here, y'all? A whole bunch of DEI. Whole bunch of didn't earn it on this side of the tracks. And so, hey, Steph, good to see you, buddy. Y'all don't believe me?
Super chat from the ambushed apostate. $5. All right. Can't stay long, apostate says. The ambushed apostate says, can't stay long, but I wanted to show some love to both of you. Conversations lead to better community. So keep on talking. Thanks, Skeptic Haven. And then we've got a bunch of emojis that my old man eyes can't quite see or make out. What do you think, Chad? Is that I think we have a cool guy glasses, and is that a peace sign and a fireball? Yeah.
Is that a peace sign and a fireball? I love your emojis, bro. You're so cool, bro. Bro, love you, bro. Bro, love. Bro, love, bro, love. Thank you for the emojis and the $5, bro. You're so wonderful, Seth.
Rock on. Absolutely.
Boy,
thanks, Ambush
with friends
Apostate,
like these.
And appreciate your
with friends
support.
like these.
And
so you know your boy had to call in, boy. Boy, I done forgot who we are around here. They done forgot who we are around here. We've become so civilized over the years. We've become so domesticated over here over the years. We've just been minding our motherfucking business that these motherfuckers forgot. We used to just pull up just for the shits and gigs. we used to pull up just for the shits and gigs, and they done forgot that we still got that pull up mode in us. We done got so domesticated. We be minding our own goddamn business over here so much they done forgot we could just pull up. So I called in, y'all. I called in, and we're going to hear the conversation, and then I'm going to tell y'all exactly why this conversation really ended, and I'm going to tell you what happened afterwards.
And like I said before, support helps fund. You know, none of us. I'm a volunteer. We're not making money, right? We're supporting the community, building community.
That's
so
why I don't fuck with none of these people.
Help.
I don't fuck with none of these people. These people all show you who they are. That's why I don't fuck with none of these people. Y'all think I'm fucking. Y'all, I'm telling you, it's like this many niggas out here I fuck with, for real. It's definitely one handful of people that I fuck with. I can count them on one hand. That's the real inner circle. And then it's maybe like another handful of people that I fuck with because they've been around for so long and we done been through a lot together. But you know, everybody's real suspect. I'm gonna just tell y'all like that. I don't trust none of these motherfuckers. And the smugness. No, I'm telling y'all, this whole shit is fucked.
Things like pay for tech. I know we've had some difficulties with that, and we're always looking for upgrades. So thank you once again. And what do you think, Chad? Should we go ahead and jump on this next call?
This fucking easy mode,
waiting
y'all.
for
these niggas just live life on fucking
here.
easy mode.
Let's
it's
go
so
ahead
obvious.
and
y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, privilege fucked y'all. I'm just telling y'all, white boys, privilege, especially the ones in this space, privilege has fucked y'all. It has really fucked y'all all the way up because you don't know how dangerously incompetent you are. And you still doing the shucking and driving like you did when you were a fucking pastor, and you could just smile and say Jesus loves everybody, and you could just stay on easy mode, right? You never had to really think. You could just go right to your fucking thought-stopping Christianese cliches. And y'all do the same shit here on the atheist side. And then when some real shit happens, and motherfuckers who recognize vulnerability, motherfuckers who know what's really going down, and they see it so obviously. And then y'all keep doing this fucking dance thinking you're outsmarting somebody like we go fall for your preacher bullshit. Boy, y'all don't even know what y'all don't know, bro. It's funny. It's like pulling up It's just like pulling. It's Dunning-Kruger. I'm gonna just keep it like that. It's Dunning-Kruger. These motherfuckers really do think they're the smartest people in their room. They have no idea how violently behind the curve they are.
Joe, you shall wait no more. Joe's pronouns are they, them. Joe's calling out of Pennsylvania here, identifying as agnostic. And yeah, wanting to talk about community. I'm going to go ahead and press the big green button. And Joe, hello. You're on live with Chad and Drew.
Here we go.
How are you doing?
I called in
Hey,
as Joe.
how's it going? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Thanks for taking my call.
Good. Thanks for waiting and hanging on with us here as we're working through another fantastic conversation. But we are so glad that you are here as well. Talk to us a little bit. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I know what's on my mind is, growing up, coming out of sort of Christianity and just realizing how much I overlooked, right? Like now when I talk to a Christian, even if it's one of my students, right, and I see them with their crosses on or their Essentials Fear of God hoodie, I don't know why that's becoming such a fashion statement, but I think about all the things that young person has accepted and had to look the other way, right? Like you hear all this talk about how, the Pope is critiquing Donald Trump for his rhetoric and asking him how did it become so normalized? And I'm thinking it became so normalized because y'all worship a God that overlooks genocide. Y'all worship a God that commands genocide, that does genocide, that commands and authorizes slavery, and it feels like we've lost so much of our humanity when we can't look at that.
All right, look, I'm gonna let this play. I'm really gonna try to keep the commentary to a minimum because I want y'all to hear the call and then we'll talk afterwards. But I just want to tell y'all just a little bit of context because it's funny to me. I locked in for this shit, y'all. You know how like normally a lot of people do this shit and they're like watching the stream and they're watching the chat to see how people are reacting to them and shit. I didn't do any of that. I deliberately took myself into the kitchen. I wasn't anywhere near my computer. I wasn't anywhere near the chat. I wasn't watching the screen. I wasn't watching anything. I really locked into this conversation. I really took it like I'm a call. We're going to have this conversation, and then we're going to get where we need to go. But yeah, I just want y'all to have that frame of reference that for real, I'm not watching them. I'm not looking at their reactions. I can't even see them. I can't see the show. I literally called in on the phone. I'm in the kitchen and nothing going on. Just standing there talking to them on the phone, like really just listening, just really locked into the conversation.
And
so this is my first time seeing their reaction.
I wonder what it means for our future, especially like in the moment we're in with the Epstein and the international wars and all of these things. Like, what does it mean that it feels like we've just lost moral clarity, right? And our ability to have conversations about what's really in these books, what's really going on in this organization. And so it's like, I have a hard time taking the sincerity of people seriously, if that makes sense. When it's like, there's just so much that we're clearly overlooking. Mm-hmm. Do you guys identify with that at all?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many different levels of it, right? It's where's the sincerity, first of all, just on society level, certainly I think for a lot of us, myself certainly included, back when we were in church world, faith world, whatever, when I was doing that, when I was a minister, it's like there's insincerity everywhere. But then what can be even more disturbing, I think sometimes, is when we leave the church and faith. You would think that it would be this huge course correct of everything. That's not always the case. And maybe it's tough because it's not always so easy to know how to course correct after faith, even in things like ethics. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, honestly, like the more time I spend away from faith, it honestly feels like the more not only I was lying to myself when I was in the faith, but I was lying to myself when I left. And I thought that you know, I had like figured it out that you know, I was the smartest person in the room now. You know, I could walk into a room full of, you know, family members that are still believers, or I could, you know, look at, you know, Christians getting all excited about the Jesus of love and all this, and just kind of know in myself. I mean, I've even said to my family members, you worship the monster. Like, I've been able to like verbalize that to their faith, right? And I know SKEPTIC, I don't know if you know her. She's like this, she makes content on YouTube. She's a content creator, SKEPTIC, like SKEPTYGAL, but she calls them like thug Christians, right? Because she points out that like all this stuff is in their book, and like they don't give a fuck. Like they really, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse here, but like they don't care, you know, like
Brother,
you can point it out to them, like, and I've done this with my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done this with my mom.
Yeah.
To like say, look, mom, like look at what this book says about women. Look at what it says about slavery. Look at what it says about genocide. And then her like look me in the face and be like, well, I'm always going to be a Christian. So, you know, I don't know what you want me to do about your religious trauma, essentially.
Sorry, just a comment there. It's funny to watch their reaction to this now, because this is something that, again, most of these people, most of y'all who really don't understand, like, for real, what a struggle it is to especially be marginalized and have to like deal with how deep this cult has rotted your fucking family, and really call upon you to like confront them with it. And it's funny that they feel it now talking to me, and they know that that's what's up. They're like, damn, this man's like really, he'll go there. Yeah, like, you know, I'm gonna call y'all out if I'm sitting here talking to you about how I told my mother to her face she worships the monster. But I had to really go there. And then I also had to accept their response or non-response, or the fact that it didn't fucking matter to them, that they really were the thug Christians who don't give a fuck. And then I had to cut them off once I realized, one, that they were dealing with the religious and collective narcissism, and two, that is how you deal with narcissists. See our previous streams. And that is something that, of course, not surprisingly, when people hear us talk about over here, they get all up in our fucking craw about it and talk about how we're evil and we're divisive and we're confrontational and we advocate for people cutting off their families. It's like, no, we deal with the fucking reality. We live in reality on fucking reality's terms. And when we realize some shit is fucked up, we say something about it. Whether you're some fucking YouTube content creator, some dumbass, fake ass, pro wrestling ass. Yeah, I'm a pro wrestling fan. I'll call your ass out on that shit all day. You fake ass, pro wrestling ass grifters on YouTube, or my mama. It don't make a bit of a difference to me. And if your ass gotta go, your ass gotta go. And once again, it really don't make a bit of fucking difference to me. That's what the fuck principles and moral clarity looks like. But none of y'all would do that because, again, you're violently incompetent, violently incapable of really living on your own, separate from your support networks, counting on whatever fucking benefits you're gonna fucking get in the future by remaining in proximity for these people. In the same way, none of y'all can fucking have a spine and call out Nancy because you call out Elliot about what happened to Nancy because you don't want to risk your proximity to the people who you think can help you gain influence, is the same fucking reason we can't have nice things in America, because the most privileged motherfuckers in the room who make a fucking living on YouTube talking about how evil Christianity is don't have the fucking decency to fucking deal with it in their own goddamn families. And then they're happy to sit around and poke at the few of us who have the fucking gall too and act like we're the fucking problem.
You know, sorry you don't like the way I raised you type of conversation. And so for me, one of the wake-up calls, honestly, was my psychiatrist. I was in a relationship where like the person was really kind of not treating me too well and not being supportive. And my psychiatrist told me, it sounds like you're suffering from narcissistic abuse. And I had no idea what that really even meant. And I had to look into it, and it's like I got this education and what that even meant. And I thanked that doctor for saving my life. I told him, I said, I really think you saved my life. But I was out of that relationship 2 days later. But in the process of just trying to work through what happened, you know, now all of a sudden I have to read about narcissism. I have to find out how other people have dealt with narcissistic abuse. So now I think I'm healing from this relationship, but it's really opening these wounds, saying like, no, all of that was there in the church too. You thought it was just bad ideas and, you know, a lack of moral clarity, but no, it's been this sort of toxic, like you said, toxic community from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
and you were raised in this collective narcissism. And so that really taught me like, oh, I can still be hoodwinked. And when I get hoodwinked, it'll turn my life upside down, and I'm not immune to that. Matter of fact, now I wonder if the narrative in this whole space is off a bit, because it's like, maybe we should be seeing ourselves as more susceptible to those things and not less.
Yes. Yes. I love that. That whole idea that, yes. So when I hear what you're saying, and tell me if we're on the same page here. Okay. So part of what I'm hearing, and as I've seen it through my own lens and experiences, is when we grow up in the church, in faith, whatever our tradition is, oftentimes we're kind of sometimes more directly than others. Sometimes we're told exactly what we have to believe. Sometimes we're not necessarily instructed what we have to believe or how we have to live in every single thing. But nonetheless, it's our faith that guides us, and we can feel so confident in that guidance, that instruction, and we just have all the answers, be it through how we read the Bible or whatever may be. And then all of a sudden we don't. And I know for myself, at least, when I left the faith, it like created a vacuum, because I feel like I lived so intentionally based on what I understood to be biblical truth, etc. And then I left the faith, and it created this vacuum, and I didn't know what the fuck to put in the vacuum. I didn't know what ethics were right. All I knew is that what before was one of the worst and greatest sins and evils of all time is now simply a medical procedure. Well, shit, if the worst of the worst is now just fine, what is right or wrong anymore? Do you think, is that some of what you think might be what you reference to as we're even more susceptible now because we're just trying to figure out how the fuck to rebuild it all?
Yeah, and then honestly, the more I think about like learning and development, like things like boundaries, emotional intelligence, questioning authority, critical thinking, a lot of the things you talked about, like just where's my balance, where's my center, where I can figure out the difference between me and the group I'm in, and my needs and what I've been told to want and need, and how to express those things. And so I looked at it, and now I look back at it, and it's about development in the sense of growing from a child to an adult is not just about physically growing bigger and learning how to, you know, do third grade work versus ninth grade work versus college work. It's also about the stages of reaching maturity. And rather than going through those stages of reaching age appropriate maturity, right? Age appropriate conversations about sex, age appropriate conversations about emotions, age appropriate conversations about consent, age appropriate conversations about, you know, just critical thinking, how to tell people when you don't want something, all these things. It's like, I missed all that. I was told to take it to the cross. I was taught to spiritualize it. I was taught it was sin. I was taught I probably shouldn't want those things in the first place. And so now I'm looking back at it and saying, you know, approaching middle age, and in middle age, I'm learning the things that I now feel like I should have learned as a child or as a teenager. And then what does it mean for me to say that I'm beyond indoctrination, or I've moved out of this place of being susceptible to cult-like thinking and cult-like behavior, when in reality, I didn't work my way out of the cult till I was a fully grown man. And now I'm really playing catch up, but at the same time, I'm really should be in the remedial class. I'm treating myself like I'm, you know, like I have a doctorate in this or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and there's so much that can come our way all at once. And sometimes it's hard to know even where to start, right? And sometimes it can feel like there's a lot of pressure. Oh, like I'm starting back at square one. And before, at least I was given a map. Now I feel like I don't even have a map anymore. Remedial feels advanced compared to how it can feel sometimes, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Those are painful lessons.
Yeah.
Even if they're simpler lessons or earlier lessons, they're still painful for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some great chats coming in, by the way, and we definitely will come back.
So
later
I didn't
we'll
even notice it, but again,
chats,
this
so
is all these people. I mean, like this is what I mean about this community being rotted. Like people thought that when we said that we were just being assholes, but look, like Titan, you know, Titan really, a lot of people maybe probably ever will figure it out, but Titan behind the scenes has been really one of the worst people in orchestrating all of this cover up, just basically totally abusing his relationships with the content creators and his sort of super mod status in different groups to really orchestrate some of the nastiest work about keeping all this shit hidden. Theo, just a dipshit, centrist asshole, literally just running around both sides and always, well, why don't both sides talk? Bro, I don't know why these people keep trying to put us back together. This is so weird. This is kind of like when you've like broken up with somebody and they're like running around telling people that y'all are kind of having a hard time right now, but you're like really working on your relationship and like, you know what I mean? And you're hearing the shit people saying, and you're like, did he not tell you I told him to fuck all the way off? Like, what? Why we're not getting back together? What is wrong with you? We hate all of you. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Oh my god, these people they have no idea how much I fucking hate all of them. What? Y'all don't y'all know that's why we found that joy down in our hearts. I told y'all Nancy doing all right. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And we try to let y'all know about this Nanocon shit because you're unsafe. I told you I'm not gonna be at the next Nanocon. I'm sorry, that shit funny to me because they really tripping over me, and I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna be at the next Nanocon. I don't know how to put it to you. None of my friends is gonna be at the next Nanocon. So we all right. Like we chilling, like we thinking about the summer, you know what I'm saying? Like we trying to figure out how we gonna stack this paper real quick. Make this little cheddar for the summer, you know what I'm saying? Catch a couple of memories and keep it two-stepping. Y'all are about to go to Nanocon. Y'all the ones need to be fucking worried.
Much everyone for all of these. And I know I'm so focused on all the insights and great questions Joe's bringing. I'm not even quite catching everything in the chat. So I apologize. Even the ones on the screen, I haven't caught them all.
Hey, Sue. Good to see you.
But Joe, let me ask you this. I mean, it's so much great insight. It sounds like, seriously, you might not feel like you've got it quite all put together yet. And honestly, fam, do any of us ever? And you seem to have some really good self-awareness of what you're learning and what you haven't yet. Is there anything in particular, maybe a particular challenge, or maybe you've already kind of mentioned it and maybe just in the midst of all of the wisdom and just everything that all the experiences you're bringing here, maybe you mentioned something specific and I missed it. And so if you did, I apologize. But is there maybe in the midst of it all a particular challenge that you're facing right now that you'd like to run by Chad and myself? And
yeah, Hillwood, it's kind of ironic because, you know, I know there's a lot of shit that's going on with this that people just don't get to see because there's just way too fucking much of it. It's like an avalanche of fucking shit and you only have so much time. But yeah, one of the narratives was going around, ironically, was that what we were doing was what they do in churches. Like, I forget what the fuck they were saying. I don't know. They were saying some shit about how, like, us you know, calling people out or whatever. I guess because we were shaming people or whatever. I don't know. They said, I really don't even know. You got to ask them. I don't speak moron. That we were doing what churches do, and I remember my response would be like, no, putting unity over accountability is what churches do, right? So I'm with you on the toxic unity thing. Like that's exactly what all this has been about. We've got to be harmonious. We've got to stay on the same front. We've all got to be together. And people are using that to say, well, I don't want to get into this stuff that's tearing the community apart. And it's like, this ain't about tearing the goddamn community apart. It's about a woman getting thrown down the stairs and choked and nobody doing a goddamn thing about it. And the community wouldn't be getting torn apart if somebody would have just done something about it. And the community wouldn't be getting torn apart now if y'all would just fucking get real about what the fuck happened and handle this shit like some fucking grown-ups. But since you're not grown-ups and all this shit is fake and you're a bunch of fucking grifters, you're just carrying on with the motherfucking kayfabe up in this bitch.
You kind of try and work through or come up with some insights.
All right, so this was where the call dropped. And I think this is the first time.
So I think this means we need to.
I didn't press it.
Yeah. This they told me this may happen. I think you and I both need to log back in and then we'll bring it back up. Oh, is that right? Is that Wes there? Do we need to log back in?
Oh, there's Wes.
Or are we here? Oh,
Should be all good. You should be all good.
Okay, we're all good. Okay, cool. Thought maybe.
So as far as I know, this was a genuine technical thing. I don't know, maybe. Who knows? But on my end, the call did fall out, but I was still like on the line or whatever. And then I don't know. When I look back at it, now that I'm looking back at it now, I kind of think maybe this is where they figured out who I was and they were trying to figure out how much longer they were going to let me go. Maybe because I did stay on the line, but they did come and they told me there was a technical issue and they apologized and all that shit. So who knows? Who knows? Who the fuck knows? But that's not the what we're here necessarily get into. But I did want to say that's what they told me yesterday. At least I don't believe shit they say over there to keep it real with y'all. But that's what I was told.
Be the whole thing anyway. Bad things. Do we still have you on? It looks like
get
Joe.
Nanocon.
Here, I'm gonna repress Joe's talk button. Sorry, y'all. We're working it. Joe, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sounds great. Sorry, we had some tech glitches, but we are back, so that's good. It was very brief. So, is there anything a particular challenge or anything that you'd like to kind of workshop together, or kind of just talk through and see if we can find some insights, the three of us?
Yeah, so I guess really like there's been two things on my mind a lot lately. So one is sort of, I wonder what strides we're making towards, I guess what I would call, you talked about it a bit too, right? Talking about how the Bible, it offered us something, right? It offered us a lot of answers. It told us how to live, how to do a lot of these different things. And now I feel like even though I finally found like a home in the sense of like, okay, I found that I'm not crazy, okay? I found that there are people out there like me. I'm not the only person who's not biting on the God thing anymore. I'm not the only person that's kind of thinking religion is maybe causing us more problems than it's solving. I'm not the only person that thinks like, hey, we could probably do a little bit better to make our material conditions better. So I'm feeling that. But now I'm wondering, like, what is it based on? Because now I find myself here, but I feel like so much of what we are is we're against the Bible, we're against faith, we're against Christianity, you know, we're pro-science.
Damn, this just reminded me of growing up in my grandfather's church, and there'd always be these signs, like these banners hanging behind the pulpit. And that's exactly what it was. It was just like, we are against da-da-da-da-da-da. We are for da-da-da-da-da. And it would just be like, you know, and it was literally just like old school fucking Pentecostal fucking bullshit. But it always was something that I don't know, just never set well with me the way that was. But yeah, this is I didn't really connect those dots at the time, but just hearing it back.
And it's like all these things are great, but it's like, where's my actual moral philosophy going to come from? What do I know? Okay, I have these humanist values, and that tells me I should, prioritize all these other different types of people. But what do I know about those different types of people, and how am I getting to learn about those different? You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm getting a different set of values, and I'm finding like-minded.
Yes, Sue, talk about it, Sue. See, that's why we miss Sumami in these motherfucking streets right here. What up, sis? She said, oh, I see Stacy and Drew folded like the weak ass bitches they are. Yeah, that's what I was calling out. Like, yeah, they like I said, how the mighty have fallen, Sue. Like this man went from apparently your wife found this woman after he did this to her. And here you are shucking and jiving for the people promoting their next event and literally yucking up all the super chats of the flying monkeys while that same Stacy's in the chat. I don't have the chat on because, I don't know. I heard the chat was actually into it too or whatever. I don't really, you know what I mean? I just kind of wanted to react to the conversation itself because it's really about Skeptic Haven. But all the flying monkeys were in the chat and Stacy's in the chat with them. I've been telling people, look, I'm not Patty. I'm not Patty. And if this is how my quote unquote friends would carry things after finding my sister in that situation, no. Oh no, not be any friends of mine.
The people, but now I'm like,
these are no friends of mine.
What do we do with this other than not be them? Like, okay, I know we're not them, but then like, who are we other than not them? If that makes sense.
So is it a? I think I'm about there. I just want to clarify. So is it looking for like, okay, so I have the values in place.
Look, I'm gonna just put it to y'all like this. And a lot of this is like, I feel bad in a sense, not bad, but I'm hyper aware of certain privileges that I have, one of which is my education. And unfortunately, like that's my perspective on a lot of this. When I look back at my life, especially how lucky I feel to have escaped that type of cult upbringing, because man, people don't even know. I don't even really get into it, but yeah, my life was all the way steeped in Christianity, y'all. But what I'm so fortunate about is my sense of self is not tied to Christianity or the lack thereof. My sense of self is tied to so many other things I've been able to do and accomplish in the world. And now as an educator and with the perspective of, teaching everything from sociology to anthropology to biology and evolution and all these things and doing research and all this shit, I'm just realizing that, look, a lot of this is these motherfuckers just don't have it. It's look, you got to think of it as like an ecosystem, right? And everybody's got their niche. And regardless of what happens in the environment, regardless of what changes, everybody's going to try to find their place and carve out a living for themselves. So that means you have to be realistic about what the people who have things like resources and influence and money and power and all that are going to do. And you have to be very realistic about what dumb motherfuckers who don't have a lot going for them are going to do. And one of the things that people are really starting to understand about religion is that it draws in people who are basically drawn to undeserved accolades, undeserved authority, undeserved prestige, undeserved privilege. So if you already live a sort of very privileged existence, and then you end up in an organization or a type of cult where that is just rewarded and that's the total norm, then it creates even more like what people are starting to refer to as like atrophy. Like you don't really develop competency, you don't really develop skills, you don't really work for shit because you're used to just doing the super easy mode Christian things, smiling at people and basically receiving social promotion based on privilege. And then you're a grown ass person and you leave that, and that feels hard. That feels like a major accomplishment. It just feels like you're a miracle worker now because you got yourself out of a cult. Like you just climbed Everest or some shit. I don't know, maybe because Susan here. But it's like even though that is a tremendous accomplishment for you, like I've been saying, y'all, atheist is not a fucking qualification. And so what happens in this space is we've created this little niche, this little opportunity, this little fucking thing people could try to carve out a sense of self, and with it gain some friends, some following, and if you're one of the fortunate few, a few dollars here and there. But what they haven't figured out, that people who have had to like move on and, you know, for instance, teach college students about the actual structure of society and the problems that we face. You learn things like, yeah, Christianity and religion's a problem, but it's a problem because of the systems it upholds. Particularly in America, when you're dealing with Christianity, we're talking about patriarchy, capitalism, and white supremacy. See, I teach the social determinants of health. It's about how race, class, and gender affect your fucking health outcomes. But if you think about it, race, white supremacy, class, capitalism, gender, patriarchy. So I tell my students this class is about how patriarchy, capitalism, and white supremacy get people killed. So you realize Christianity is a problem, but it's a problem more or less, you know, if it was just an elusive religion over there of its own, just having its thing, doing its shit, like who cares, right? But since it's brought into the power core and then used to turbocharge patriarchy, capitalism, and white supremacy, that's really the problem. So where am I going with this? When you take one structure that attracts unqualified people and elevates them based on patriarchy, capitalism, and white supremacy, what we've done over here and what y'all call the so-called atheist community and bullshit, all this, is nothing but literally move the priest from over here on the Christian side and taking their asses and say, hey, we do adult Bible studies over here on the atheist side. Bring your preacher ass over here and we'll give you the same undeserved fucking elevation and privilege and influence. And then when some real shit goes down, the atheist pastors and they deacons just go into fucking cover our ass mode like they would have done over here in the church, because they left behind the church and now they got the same grift over here because they didn't build anything else in between. And I don't like having to say that to people because, again, it makes me hyper aware of the privilege I've had to build my sense of self on other things. But again, part of this whole conversation has been about the weaponized incompetence. It's been about how these people are dangerous and dangerously dumb. And so you have to start to demand better. You have to start saying, we're not going to put you in the position of an expert when you don't have any goddamn expertise in anything that fucking matters. Being an adult Bible study leader who can say the Bible's dumb instead of the Bible's brilliant, again, atheist is not a motherfucking qualification, which means super atheist is also not a fucking qualification. So if y'all ever decide to get real about building something in your rotten ass community that I no longer will be a part of, so I don't know why y'all keep trying to come at me telling me how much I'm ruining and destroying the community instead of realizing that that's my motherfucking intention. I would just tell y'all to get serious and hire some fucking professionals in this bitch.
More or less in place. It makes sense. I value people. I value experiences, whatever may be. Okay. but you're looking for, okay, but on a more of a cognitive level, looking for the connections on a cognitive level as opposed to pure values. Is that where you're headed?
Yeah, it's more like,
What up,
okay,
Wayne?
so it almost feels like when I watch, like, say, atheist content, it fuels my sort of religious trauma fix. But when I go to learn about, like, say, history, or I go to learn about civil rights, or I go to learn about feminism, or any of these things, I have to go outside of the atheist sphere to really get the real education in those things. But now I'm back in mainstream culture where it's okay to filter those things through Christian language and all of those things. So now I don't feel comfortable in the space that's feeding my education fix, for a lack of a better way to put it, because they're not really gonna break it down in a secular framework that I could really attach myself to. So every time the learning gets real good, all of a sudden that other stuff starts to creep in, and now I don't feel okay over here. And now when I come back over to atheist space, I'm like, okay, now I'm with my people, but now it's like it don't feel like we're taking up the substance of those broader issues in the same way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel like these are my people over here, but again, when we're over here, we're mostly focused on, okay, we're not them, we're not doing the apologetics, okay, their philosophical arguments are bad, but it's like, what are we building to replace it?
So
other than a space where we're not.
Is part of it
and I know
saying,
that's not an easy answer, but that's the feeling, right?
Yeah. Like, so it sounds to me like what you're saying is, okay, so oftentimes atheist spaces. So one time somebody, it was the leader, I forget his name. It was back when I was living in Chicago, and we were doing the local Freedom from Religion Foundation, their local group in Chicago. The leader of it at the time, he was talking about, he was like a former Catholic. And he said, at least in my tradition as a Catholic, boy, when we'd go to our church gatherings and we never talked about the Bible or Jesus or God. We just talked about regular everyday life. And now we're atheists. We've left it behind. And now all we do is talk about the Bible and whether or not there's a God. And so am I sensing in you a hunger for, okay, can we bring the rest of life beyond whether or not there's a God into our atheist and secular spaces, and more diversify the content, the learning? Because if that's what you're looking for, I do think that's out there, and I can kind of help point you in that direction. And Chad maybe has some good resources as well. Or am I totally missing the beat?
And again, notice how the preacher grift is just going the whole time. He just has to like cold read you and then figure out what's the good question to get you to the next thing, right? And then eventually it's leading to how can we plug you in and connect you to our quote unquote resources, right? Which is just this incestuous network of unsafe non-profits and all of this fucking bullshit, right? And then that's how they get you fed into the fucking conference grift and deeper into the fucking cult you go, right? And again, it is all a facade. Like it's really sad, even again, but this is, so the thing that I think worked here was that I was being sincere. I was just, like I said, I wasn't watching the screen. I wasn't even in the studio. I was in my kitchen just talking to them. And so I was just having a sincere conversation. And so I could even say, like, now, like with this whole thing with Nancy, it's like, again, it's another one of those, oh shit, what have I gotten myself into? Because this is literally just the same. This is just the same thing with an atheist coat of paint. And it's been kind of hard for me to realize the depth of the rot. Because like, even though we've seen it, we've been dealing with this for months, and we saw it, we had a snapshot, right, at that time, right? When you come into any situation, you have a snapshot of the situation at that time. And from that snapshot, it was very clear to me immediately that this was a total system failure. This was a complete community failure, top to bottom. The incident, how the incident was handled, the follow up, the organizations, the sponsors, all of the flying monkey shit, the lack of response from the community, just like the whole thing, and now the cover up. But as we've gone through this, there are these moments where it dawns on you, like, yeah, okay, you could say you were right or something like that, but in reality, it's like you really had no idea, like that was just the tip of the iceberg, and you're still realizing you're dealing with the tip of the fucking iceberg, but you're starting to get a much better perception of how massive this fucking iceberg is. And it's just like, yo, and this was one of those moments where you're like, nope, okay, we're like, this is some full blown cover up shit. So have fun with that.
Here, and that's not what you're looking for at all.
No. That's totally it. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then I'll tell you the second thing. The second thing is, because I feel like I missed that developmental window, and because I feel like it took me so long myself to realize what I hadn't realized, even post deconstruction, if you will, even after I left the faith. So I left the faith, right? But it took me a really long time to look back and say, oh, I'm just now learning.
Oh. Hey, Kyle. All right. So,
hey,
I'm wondering how.
Oh. Hey, Joe, are you with us, Joe? Joe? Hey, Joe. Okay.
So I don't know how time delayed this show is or whatever, but I do kind of suspect it's on a time delay. I can't really prove that, but that's definitely my suspicion. And the reason I say that is because that is where the call, I guess, ended on the broadcast.
So it looks like, folks, let me check here. I think, let's see.
But I started talking.
We're back. Last time we were back when this happened, I apologize, folks. Let me go over and check the public chat. Looks like we are back in, I believe. So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, sorry about that. Oh, is Joe still talking? So, I've lost him. Maybe, okay, I'll log back into Call Studio. So, I'm going to log out because... Okay, I see him now. Now he's back. Folks, again, thank you so much for bearing with this, with us. We thank you so much for this. Y'all, community ain't easy sometimes. Be it in-person community ain't easy, and online community ain't always that easy either. And so, y'all, thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for bearing with this and with our tech. And looks like, okay, Joe's call is terminated. Joe, I hope you're listening to us, even though your call is dropped. And we're sorry we missed part of what you had there. I'm going to keep my eyes open. If you try calling back in, again, we apologize for all of this. And if you call back in, I think our amazing screening room can make sure that you are identified and expedited. And so, yeah, that was Jay or Joe. It did say they go by either name. And yeah, I'm getting word that they will be expedited if they call back in. We have another call in the screening room. But as I was saying, in Chad, boy, if this isn't like the Wednesday night Bible study where one little gremlin can just knock the whole thing out of whack. And I'm not even talking about the Bible. Boy, can that shit fuck shit up. So a lot going on. Great conversation in all of that. So much that could be said. Chad, what are your thoughts coming off of that call with Joe?
Yeah, I was hearing what he was saying about, how if you're just looking.
All right, so I'm going to tell y'all what really happened. You don't really need, it's not really important, whatever the fuck they talking about on that dumbass channel. Yeah, so really what happened was I started to go into like the situation with Nancy and be like, what's up if we can't, talk about like what happened at NanoCon? And somebody came on, it sounded like one of their people that's been around for a longer time. I don't want to start throwing names out there. But they were like, Jay, we're not gonna do this here. We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. And I was like, y'all, it's like fuck. I just like fucking hung up. It's just like whatever. And then I came back in here to the studio and I was kind of trying to see like how it ended on the broadcast because I was like, yo, that's fucking crazy. They literally just fucking ended the call as soon as they knew I was going to talk about what happened to Nancy. This is exactly what the fuck happened. I don't give a fuck what they tell y'all. That is exactly what happened. I was literally about to like in the middle being like, what does it mean? Why can't we talk about what happened to Nancy and Nanocon? It was done. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, and then it means like, we're not doing this. And then, so then when I got back here, I heard the part where he was like, oh, well, if he calls back, we'll prioritize it. And so I called back and one of the call screeners answered. And I just started telling them, I was like, look, I just want you to understand what just happened. And for some reason, yo, I was really feeling it too, because I actually mentioned like what I do, because I feel like Uncle Bobby sometimes, where like a lot of what motivates me on this channel, it's just an interplay with your real life. And, like he's a women's self-defense instructor. I just teach a lot of this shit. And I'll never know what it's like for women, but I'm learning, but I do teach classes about sex and gender, and we have to talk about these issues and gender violence. And like I showed y'all on stream, I have to be trained in these things every year and deal with the realities. And most of the classes I teach, by a long shot, I don't even have a ton of male students. Most of my students are women, young women. And so I'm always thinking about, what if this happened to one of my students, and how do we respond to these type of things on campus, knowing that we have all this training and all these safety procedures in place, but we still have a lot of incidents. And yeah, like I was like, I teach about sex and gender, and like I don't understand, like y'all are literally not letting me talk about an assault that happened in this community. Like you're blocking that conversation from happening. And then, we got into a back and forth, and I was like, and I had to explain to them, like, I'm not trying to get back on the show. I know you're not going to let me back on the show. And they're all like, oh, well, I'm just, you got to talk to the board and all this. I'm just a volunteer, and I'm, following my orders, and I can't abuse my privileges here and I'm like, I'm not trying to get back on. I just want you to understand that this is what Skeptic Haven is now. This is what they're doing. This is what's happening. And then I just hung up. Like that's where we're at. And y'all could say what y'all want. Y'all could talk about it, threaten, whatever. Do your little strategize, whatever the fuck you want to do. That's what happened. That's what happened. Am I remembering the conversation word for word verbatim? Nope. Not a goddamn stenographer. But I'm fucking telling y'all what happened. Straight up. So they can say whatever the fuck they want to over there. They can say whatever the fuck they want to over there. I'm telling y'all what happened. They ended that call because I wanted to talk about Nancy. And I called back to let them know. Y'all are part of the cover-up. That's what that is. You doing a live show where you're literally talking about toxic community. That's the title of the motherfucking stream. Toxic community after leaving a high control religious group. And so these motherfuckers, toxic community even after dogma. This is what I mean about it being fake, y'all. About people who they're playing in your face about their morality, and all this highfalutin bullshit. And then when some real shit goes down, they literally are like, nah, you're literally not allowed to talk about that on this channel. You're not allowed to talk about the assault at Nanocon. That's what we're gonna call it. We gotta keep it. Look, these niggas is pro wrestling. That's we're gonna have to get Heartbreak J back in here. We're gonna have to. These niggas only speak pro wrestling. They only speak kayfabe. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, we're gonna have to just give it a straight up 90s pro wrestling pay-per-view title. Assault at Nanocon. That's what we're gonna call that shit. The assault at Nanocon. That's what we want y'all to talk about. And where is the goddamn content, y'all? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy too how motherfuckers is all scrambling behind the scenes. Everybody's reaching out and they want to have private conversations and talking discords and fucking phone calls, all this shit. Y'all don't. I keep trying to tell y'all Nancy checkmated all that bullshit. My homegirl Nancy came with it, y'all. She said 10 pages addressed to the atheist YouTube community, notarized. So y'all had to excuse me for just feeling her fucking boss ass energy a little bit. And just, that's where I'm at with these fools. Get it notarized. We hear all that shit y'all talking. Get it notarized. That's the new bar. Nancy said, fuck all that rumors, all that shit y'all talking about. She said, fuck all that shit y'all talking about. Get it notarized. That's, y'all just tell it to them. Just keep it real tight like that. Like, we don't even got to do this for homie. I'm gonna just tell you like this. Get it notarized. That's how I'm gonna hit you like Nancy, bro. Cause again, would I walk into a notary today and make a notarized statement about what I experienced last night dealing with Skeptic Haven? I sure as fuck would. Skeptic Havens, because I know you're gonna do a little scramble dance. I know you're gonna do it. Let me tell you right now. I would walk into a notary today. You'd be like, let me tell you what these niggas did last night. Let me tell you. So keep it G. Keep it G over there. Y'all some clowns. I don't know why these people think they're not gonna get called out for this shit, bro. Y'all so fucking simple. Look at this shit, y'all. This is my conversation with Wes, y'all. This motherfucker. You see, I was talking to this motherfucker back in December. Let me see if I could. I don't know, bro. We doing this. Y'all know we doing this. We trying to do some of these vertical streams and shit now. That should be a little bit better, but it's still probably hard to see. I'm gonna still read that shit to y'all. Y'all can check it out later. So back in December, the last thing I said to him was, once it becomes clear that something happened at the event, it needs to be handled accordingly, including dealing with the offending party. People are once again blaming Nancy for their organizational desire to look the other way. Quote, we're being quiet to honor Nancy's wishes. Stop. That's disgusting. Okay. So I sent that back on December 14th, 2025. That shows you how long we have been going back and forth on this shit. Right. Just for a little context, as they say. But so yesterday, after that shit happened, I said, when your network dies, remember how hard y'all worked to cover this up. I always knew you were a coward. I just had no idea you're the type of coward who won't even show up when one of the Apostate Sisters was assaulted. And so Wes says, I don't even have a good Wes impersonation voice. I've asked my friends to respect my privacy in this matter and my boundaries of not wanting to discuss it with anyone. Anything further will just be harassment, Jay. Please stop. When I say they not beating the fucking accusations of using the white power playbook, I love how motherfuckers think they gonna get me shook talking about that shit. Dog. Do you hear yourselves? y'all have negative self-awareness. Your self-awareness is not even zero. It is deep in the fucking way out far left of the number line. Oh my goodness. Bro, you just produced a whole ass show where you shut down a conversation about a sexual assault that happened committed by somebody that hosts shows about community building on your fucking network, and people are promoting it right now. And the motherfuckers who have threatened this victim and all the flying monkeys for the victim, they're all in the chat right now. We could air this out. We could have aired this out last night. We could have had that fucking conversation. And go back and listen to the conversation. Can't nobody say I wasn't on my best behavior. I tried to engage in a very legitimate conversation. Yes, I used an alias. It's the fucking internet. Get over it. But I tried to have a real ass conversation and then work our way into that so we could really talk about it. And y'all fucking shut it down because you're part of the cover up. When you're covering up, yeah, that makes you part of the cover up. That's how this works. You incompetent fucking idiots. And then I'm like, yo, like when your network dies, like when literally people realize that you were part of the fucking cover up, remember how hard y'all worked to cover this up. And then again, I'm just keeping it real. I always knew Wes was a noodle. Wes is like a self-identified centrist, y'all. If Useless had a fucking last name, it would be centrist. Like, if you self-identify as a centrist, woo, I would rather have words with MAGA. I'm going to just keep it 100. I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. I would far rather have words with MAGA. If you're a centrist, I'm just keeping it so G. And y'all know I don't fuck with MAGA. I literally would never talk to them. But I talk to them all day, every day before I talk to a fucking centrist. You got me all the way fucked up. All right. And so then I said, and again, please stop. I'm the problem. Notice how I'm the problem. Notice how Elliot throwing Nancy down the stairs and choking her is never the problem. I'm the problem. Again, I made a stream called How White Crimes Become Black Guilt. This is my reality that I'm living, y'all. I'm just saying. You're seeing this shit in real time, right? I'm the fucking problem. Like, I threw her down. I'm pretty soon I'll be the one who threw her down the stairs and choked her. I mean, let's just go all the way with it. Like, I don't understand what's stopping you at this point. So I said, telling you that it's not cool to have the man who threw one of the Apostate Sisters down the stairs on your channel is harassment. I just want to make sure I got that correct. I will respect your wishes. Because that's really what all this has been about. You know what I'm saying? That's what the whole conversation was about, and all of this is about, because that's where I was going with it. What the fuck are y'all doing? Why are y'all still platforming him? And then again, he says, I don't want any discussion of it around me, please. Unless you have something else to discuss, I'm done here. Wes, take your ball and go home, bro. I'm out of here. And don't say anything else to me, else I'm calling my lawyer. Oh, you fucking dork. Oh my God. Oh my God, you useless fucking dork. Oh my God, y'all. So look, y'all could decide for yourselves. Y'all can decide for yourselves. Again, we've been trying to tell motherfuckers for months. They ain't been listening. I'm gonna keep trying to tell y'all all the goddamn time. We'll see if anybody listens. This is a cover up, y'all. What was that? What was that? What the fuck was that? We was all having a nice time. Y'all said y'all want us all to talk to each other, right? They keep saying, why won't they talk to us? They won't sit down and talk to us. Why won't they talk to us? Because we don't like you. God damn it. Y'all are some immature ass motherfuckers, and y'all are young and dumb and caught up in all this foolish ass drama, and you're still acting like you don't understand how high school works. We don't like y'all. Y'all play high school ass games. We grown. We grown folks over here. We was fucking with y'all for a minute, and then some real shit happened, and we was like, oh shit. Y'all motherfuckers belong over there at the goddamn kiddie table. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? So yeah, yo grown folks past been all the way provoked. You ain't invited to the cookout. We ain't playing spades with y'all. We ain't drinking with y'all. Y'all drinking underage. We grown. We grown. I mean, we could drink and we could do what the fuck we want to do. When we hang out with y'all, we always got to worry about trouble and underage drinking citations and motherfucking people getting tossed down the stairs. Like, what? Fuck out of here. Again, I'm not going in there. Yo, these motherfuckers are so geeked on this shit. They literally have themselves gassed up about Nanocon. Do you understand what I'm telling to you? These people are giddy about sexy time at Nanocon. And Dan, wouldn't it be crazy if, like, I'm just putting this shit out there. This is just a wild speculation. This is just totally off the wall. This definitely does not come from deep thought and personal observation of this entire situation. What I'm about to say is just totally wild and unfounded speculation that no one should believe. No one should believe what I'm about to say, because it's just something I'm just throwing shit at the wall. It's just totally crazy. Like, you know, like aliens exist, or God is real, or I don't know, Jesus is from outer space or something, right? What if it turned out like that the reason like this whole cover-up shit is happening is because there's also some kind of like weird ass like freaky sex kink type culty type shit also happening within the atheist cult? Like there's the atheist YouTube cult, and then there's like this like inner kind of like eyes wide shut kind of sub cult, if you will. I'm just throwing shit out the wall. You know what I mean? Like, just what if? Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be fucking crazy? Damn, y'all. Don't. I told, don't believe that. That was just some fucking wild speculation. We'll see you next time.